In 1872, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that bounty hunters were a part of the U.S. law enforcement system with a decision in the Taylor versus Taintor case. This pretty much gave the bounty hunter leeway to do almost anything they needed to go out and hunt down wanted persons through the court system. A lot of the things they didn't have to adhere to, such as the rule of due process that the local sheriffs and local and federal police had to. This evening, we're going to be playing in the Old West in 1873. This adventure will take place in the territory of Colorado at that time. Historically, on April 4th of 1873, President Grant appoints Samuel Elbert as the sixth governor of the territory of Colorado. This adventure will be taking place in late May of that same year. In 1858, the Pikes Peak Gold Rush started, but it played out pretty much within 10 years of the late 1860s. We find ourselves, as our bounty hunters have been assigned their wanted poster, their wanted person named Delwin Greymoon. It's rumored he's half Cheyenne. He's wanted for the murder of a prominent banker back east. But we start out, word has reached the bounty hunters that Delwin was seen in the large city of Canyon City, Colorado. Once they arrived there and obtained information from the local law enforcement and some other sources, Delwin was last seen several days prior, leaving out and rumored to be heading south to Colfax, Colorado, in the county of Fremont. But as we start out, as our adventurers leave Canyon City, I'll start with you, Crystal. If you can tell me who you're playing and class and all that, as y'all are leaving, headed following the newest news of maybe where you can find Delwin.
I'm playing Arthur Sawyer. He's a sin buster, preacher man. He has a background as a farmer. He used to work on farm a lot, but his hometown where he and the fella he's traveling with was once attacked by bandits, and after that devastation and praying to God about what it is he should do, he felt a revelation from the Lord that he should go out and make sure that these criminals pay for their actions, and send them on to be judged by the Lord Almighty.
All right, perfect. And your companion that is traveling along with you, Yang, if you can tell me about who you're playing.
I'm playing Sam Slim Smith. He's a gunslinger. He used to be a school teacher. He used to be a teacher in a small town, had a wife and a kid, but a bunch of these ruffians came in and killed him and took whatever he had. Ever since then, he left the place, vowing to bring punishment upon those who do others wrong. And thus, he has become a bounty hunter.
Yep, you have your official badges and official papers, and a copy of the poster showing the depiction of Delwin Greymoon. This is what you've been told about Delwin. He's kind of a tall, slim fellow himself. He always wears a black coat with a white, pretty ruffled shirt and a black hat, and rides a black horse. His weakness would be cigars and poker games. You know that he's wanted for murder of a prominent banker back east. And the exact details of what happened there, you haven't ever been told, but before he was taken in custody for the murder of this banker, he left the area and has been trying to be located ever since. You received information that he was in Canyon City, Colorado. But once you and Arthur arrived there, it's discovered that he's left the area several days prior. And speaking to some of the people there, they said he kept mentioning he's going further south to Colfax, and something about maybe trying to find an old mine that he wants to hide out at. But several days travel of going south that you'll stop through some of the smaller towns. What are your thoughts, Slim, as y'all go south? What are your thoughts as maybe you're knowing that you're getting closer to your target?
How are we going to catch him? Arthur, you have any thoughts?
Well, I'm thinking he's just going to keep running. He'll eventually, trap himself. That's these guys often do, especially if he thinks he's going to find some kind of mine or something to hide out in. Heck, most likely, there'll be a rattler get him before we do.
That'll be one way that the God's going to punish this bastard.
Well, one thing's for sure. When we find this guy, God's definitely going to have another one to punish.
Well, I'm going to shoot him. I'm going to shoot him before he can do anything.
Yeah, we'll just see how it goes. You keep out with your rifle, and I can move on in with my shotty. Our usual teamwork thing.
So maybe we're gonna just ride south and ask around the town to see if anybody's seen a man in a black horse and black coat.
Well, I don't know if we should be, and you might want to be a little bit more subtle about it. Might want to take some time to kind of, poke around a little bit and see what we see before we start, asking too many questions.
Well, speaking of poke around, I ain't seen you playing poker at all, preacher.
Yeah, well, you know what the Bible says about all that gambling. It says that, that gamblers will see their lot in the lake of fire.
Sure enough, but you ain't said nothing about my drinking.
Yeah. Well, the Bible doesn't say too many things about that. A lot of people get that a little bit confused.
Well, let's just ride down south and you spread the word of good God, and I'll just hang back and see what we can find.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. We'll just keep our mind and body pure for the next few days, so that the Spirit of God can dwell within our holy temples, and B, keep our minds straight on the objective.
Say, Arthur, I hear that reward's going to be 5,000. What are you gonna be doing with your share once we bring this bastard in?
I figure I'll find me a nice, quiet church to donate to, help fix up some rafters, maybe get them a steeple.
You ever thought about opening up your own church?
I don't think the Lord has that plan for me yet. The Lord has me on the path of catching these evildoers and bringing them in for judgment.
Amen, Pastor. Amen.
Yeah, and y'all make fairly good time as you travel, and you stop in a couple of the smaller towns. And if you ask about Delwin, a couple of people say that, they remember seeing somebody come through town several days past that match that description, but he didn't stop. So you continue going towards Colfax, which is in the very south part of Fremont County. You travel on the second day, and you are approaching a small town that you see the sign up that says Cougar Creek. And as you enter Cougar Creek, things seem to be a little bit of a miss. There's a cold chill in the air, like even though it's the end of May, and it's still a little cool this morning as you enter, and you notice a very somber tone, and you see a lot of the people wearing what appears to be bereavement type clothing. And sure enough, as y'all get into this small town, you see a wagon hitched up that has two wooden coffins on it.
Yeah, I'll pull up there to the. Arthur will pull on up there to the wagon. Is there like a coach driver or anything?
No, you don't see anybody around the wagon. And, there you see some people inside of business and stuff just close to it, but there's no one outside by the wagon right now.
I'll kind of look towards the back. Do I see a casket in there?
Yeah, there's two coffins that are closed up in the back of the wagon.
All right. Arthur will take off his hat and he'll say a little prayer for the bodies in there. Are we on horses, or are we?
Oh yeah,
are we?
yeah. You had horses, yeah.
All right. So is there a place where I can pull up to the building and hitch up my horse?
Yep, there's a few hitching posts up and around down the street.
All right. I'll go ahead and pull up and hitch up my horse, and I'll tell Slim, hey, Slim, I'm gonna head on in here and see if I can find out about these wagons. You gonna come with me, or are you gonna check out further in town first?
I'm gonna be watching the horse for a while. Then you go on ahead and find out. I'll just wait out here for you. Holler if you need me.
All right. You might want to go speak to the sheriff. Arthur will kind of get close to Slim as he's saying that, as he's kind of talking. So it's like, might want to go see the sheriff. That's probably going to be the best bet of any person we might be able to trust about the whereabouts of the guy we're looking for.
I hear you, preacher. And he nods.
Arthur will nod back to him, and he'll head into the store. You said it was a general store, right?
Yeah, it appears to be just some type of store, and there are several people that seem to be milling about. But we're going to jump over to you, Slim, as you start looking for maybe a local sheriff's office. And sure enough, you see a wooden building just across the street, several buildings down from this one. And as you make your way over there, posted on the doors a notice, closed due to funerals.
Oh, dang. This ain't right. And then he's still on his horse, by the way.
All right.
He's going to look around to see if he could see any townsfolks walking around, preferably a woman.
As you pull up to the front of the sheriff's office, and you're reading that notice and still there on horseback, around the corner come an older man and older woman you would think would be probably in their 60s or so, and they're dressed in the black bereavement type clothing. The gentleman looks up at you and he goes, "You're a stranger here. Help you with something?"
Howdy, sir. Howdy, ma'am. My name is Sam. My friend and I were just traveling south from Canyon City, and we thought we'd just find a place to rest for the night. I couldn't help but noticing that there's some sort of a funeral going on. What happened here in the town?
2 days ago, a man killed the sheriff and the deputy. We're going to bury him this morning.
I suppose that's the reason why the building says closed. And then he points at the sheriff's office.
The woman looks up at you and she's holding a handkerchief, and you can see she's been crying some. And she says, "Yeah, that's what happened. The man, he shot Sheriff Walton and poor little Jimmy. Jimmy was the deputy, but poor little Jimmy was only 18 and he didn't stand a chance. He killed them both, and murder. It's murder, I say." The man starts consoling the lady and he says, "Well, is there something that you need though, partner?" You're muted, y'all. he may have to step away. We'll jump over to you, Crystal. You go into the building, and yeah, you see several men there. You don't see any women. A couple of them, look at you as you come in, and a little short, older guy. You can tell he's dressed in like a shopkeeper type outfit. He comes walking up to you and he says, "A stranger in town. We're fixing to be closed though. But did you need some kind of supplies?"
No, sir. Traveling through town. Most people call me Father Sawyer, and I, noticed those caskets in the wagons, so I had to come in and give my condolences. Make sure that you will have a preacher to proceed over the final rites of those men out there.
When you say that, before he can answer, out of the crowd of these men come a man you would probably appear to probably be in his maybe early 20s, mid 20s, and he comes running around. And he goes, "What we need is some law in here that can go hunt that murderer down and bring him back."
So those men were murdered then. And do you know who it was that murdered those men?
Sorry, I'm back.
Well, one of the men was my brother. And the other one was the sheriff, Sheriff Walton, and my brother was the deputy. He was only 18, but this man was dressed in all black, riding a black horse, and I don't know if the sheriff had suspicions about him when he come in town and stayed, and he did some gambling over there, and the sheriff went to talk to him about some wanted poster on him. He shot and killed the sheriff, and my brother, not knowing any better, just run right into the saloon. He shot and killed him too, is what I understand, but preaching ain't gonna do no good now. We need somebody with some guns.
I'm sorry for your loss, but seems that the Lord has sent me this way, because right now that's the devil that I'm after.
The shopkeeper lets the 20-year-old finish his little spiel, and he looks and he says, "Well, who are you though? I mean, you some law yourself?"
Like I said, Father Sawyer. I'm a holy expediter for the Lord. I seek those that go astray from his path, seek to bring them to his judgment. I promise all of you that this man, he'll have that the Lord will judge him before this day is done.
A few of the men are kind of mumbling and talking amongst themselves, and a couple of them come up to you and they go, "Well, it's going to take you more than a day there to go find him. We understand through some talk that he's headed down to there's some old mines a little bit south of town here up in the wet mountains. Some of them old mines that closed a few years back, but we understand that's where he was headed to."
All right. Yeah, well, he'll just corner himself down in those mines. Do you men know if he had any cohorts with him?
Well, we don't know about that. We saw him by himself, but I'll tell you one thing: he sure wasn't no hurry to. When he left town, he shot the sheriff and killed him and the deputy both, and he just he didn't say much. He just got on his horse and rode out like it was Sunday morning.
Yeah. This devil's been due for a long time. Again, I'm sorry for your loss, son. I hope you I can't think of anything to say.
Well, the 20-year-old boy looks at you, the 20, and he says, "Well, I'm going with you. You don't know how to get to them mines, and I do. I can take you right to them."
You have anyone waiting on you back at home?
My pa died when I was young. My ma is grieving pretty bad because they killed Jimmy, but don't tell her I'm going.
I think if your ma lost another, that might be too much for her to handle. Sorry, but I can't help you. I can't accept your help in this situation, son.
He stands there looking at you, kind of with anger at first, and no words are said by anyone until you see another older guy walk around the corner, and he seems to be out of place. He's got this thick beard, wiry thick beard and hair, and he's trying to wear the best clothes that he has, of course, being the funeral, but he says, well, I used to work up in the mines. I don't get around like I used to, but I bet I could at least get you up there close to them. I don't mind. I could take you up there, but I ain't no bounty hunter.
You just point out the way, and me and my partner will make sure to bring that devil's body back here. You all can have proof that devil is gone.
I'll take you close up that way as I can, but I ain't no manhunter like I guess you are. But let us get these caskets in the ground first this morning.
You all have a preacher to see over the funeral?
You see another man that's been watching, and he's kind of holding his jacket there. He's been listening to you not say a word, and he goes, I'm the town preacher.
All right, Father. Well, I'll come pay my respects, and me and my partner will make up a plan. And then after these bodies are put in the ground, we'll head out to those mines and catch that devil, Delwin Greymoon.
Yeah, and we'll leave back and go back to you, Young, as you were given. Is there anything else you would want to ask the older man and woman that's been talking to you?
He basically asks them for the description of the man who shot him.
Yeah, and they both look at you and say, well, of course they tell you that they didn't see it because it happened over at the Sinning House, the saloon, but that everybody's told them it was a man dressed in all black on a black horse.
Let me ask you, how come the townsfolk didn't all get up and hunt him down?
The old man looks at you and he almost lets out a laugh. And he goes, well, there's not much to laugh about today, of course, with us burying Dane and Jimmy, but do any of us look like we're capable of handling a gunman like that?
I suppose not. But if the townsfolk all got up and ganged up on him, I don't know, sir. Just a thought.
Well, let me tell you what, son. I've been here most of my life in this little town, and the only thing we ever worry about is if the creek's going to come out of the bank just out of town, because if it does, that's when the cougars come down out of the hill. That's why we call it Cougar Creek. But we ain't up to much bad stuff goes on around here besides that.
I hear you, sir. Well, then, that's all. I think I'm going to get me a lasso, then. You have a good day. And then he tips his hat and rides back to the store. All
right. Arthur, would you went outside, because you can see there definitely seems to be pressed for time with the burial. You come right in when it was fixing to everybody do that. Would you go on back outside, or are you going to be still inside?
No, yeah, I'll head back outside and let them take care of their business. I'll go look for Slim and let him know what it was that Arthur will let him know what it was that he found out and everything.
Yeah, you see Slim throw his horse back around. You see he's been talking to an older man and woman of the town there, and you see him bring his horse back, and he's headed back up the street towards you.
Yeah, Arthur heads out to start unhitching his horse and he mounts it and rides on over to Slim. Says, well, our man's definitely been through here. Seem he shot the sheriff and the deputy both earlier.
So you heard, eh? Yeah,
Hmm.
I was right at the office, and it was closed. And I asked around a little bit, and that older gent and lady, they told me all about how they shot him down, and the deputy too.
Yeah, well,
It's a mighty
we're
shame.
gonna have to bring that devil in. Have him answer before God for what he's done.
But I didn't get where he was headed. I only heard that he left town.
Well, according to the men I spoke to, he was heading to some mines down south. I have an old prospector said he'd take us out to where those mines were. There was another boy eager to get himself killed, but I told him he better stay at home, comfort his ma.
A good call, preacher. I ain't gonna have no boy's death on my conscience.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too. Well, let's go pay our respects at the funeral, Slim, and then we'll get with that prospector and make us up a plan.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, you go to the pay your respects at the funeral is done, and after that, if you want to, whatever y'all want to do, if you want to make contact with certain people there, if you just want to talk to the general crowd itself.
I guess the first person Arthur would like to go speak to will be the prospector, so that he can find out if that prospector's been in those mines before. Then he might be able to tell Arthur, kind of maybe a layout or something. Hopefully, maybe he'll have even some blueprints of the mine or something.
Yeah, if you visit with him, he says, he gets paper and draws you a general rough outline and all that of it. And he says, well, those things were all boarded up and closed up. If he's back down in them mines, he would have had to dug a way in. I don't know. Ain't nobody been up to those mines in years. There ain't no gold up there.
Well, I guess Delwin ain't that smart to begin with. He probably wouldn't even know gold if he saw it.
Yep.
Well, he may not be smart, but he's a fast draw. You better be careful.
Say, does he have any friends with him?
Well, I didn't see the man. I come in town after all that happened, but from what I understand, he was by himself.
Who all was at the Sin House when these things went down?
Well, you could talk to the man that owns that place. He points over to a very large, very robust-looking guy that's dressed in this pretty suit and all that. And he says, "That's Fred. You can talk to Fred. He owns the place. He was there when it all happened, and some of the cowpokes that come in and out. But I mean, they only come in and drink and sober up and leave the next day. What few of the locals go over there, they don't go over to do nothing but to eat their meal and leave. But talk to Fred. But y'all let me know now when you're ready to go, and I'll be glad to take you out there."
All right. What about any of the any of the women that typically visit those establishments?
Well, most of them big cities, I understand they have those kind of women, but man, this is Cougar Creek. We don't have nothing but overflowing creeks and cougars around here. We don't have stuff like that goes on around here.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Well,
all right.
Preacher, that ought to please you.
Well, it makes me a little bit happier. But I tell you what, Slim, I'll let you take care of the conversation with Fred. Things like speaking with those Sin House owners, it don't tend to go well if I talk to them.
Well, I'll just leave it for me, and I'll take care of it for you. And then he walks over there to Fred and tips his hat. Says, "Howdy."
Well, hello, stranger. You're not dressed for a funeral, so I guess you're just riding into town.
Yeah, we were looking for a place to stay for the night. And we heard all about the shootout and the poor folks over here, the deputy and the sheriff. It's a mighty shame. I heard that you saw the whole thing.
Well, my first question would be, who are you?
My name is Sam. Some of my friends call me Slim. And I be one of the bounty hunters.
Well, I think you found somebody to hunt now, hadn't you?
Yeah, we were on a trail of this fella named Delwin Greymoon. He's wanted for murder out there in the east.
Did you show him a copy of the? You'll have a copy of that poster each, both of y'all. Would you show it to him?
Yeah, he shows it to him.
He looks at it and he says, "Yep, that's the man that killed Dane and Jimmy."
You saw the whole thing happen, right?
Let me tell you what happened. It was a slow day. Even though I own a saloon, there's not. It's usually the cow pokes that come in and drink and spend their money and head back out to the herds. But it was a slow day. There's some card games go on every once in a while, but the door swung open, and that man right there, and he starts pointing at the poster. The man right there come walking in. You could tell he'd been on the road. Dusty. Beautiful hat, beautiful black suit he was wearing. Come in and told me he needed a bottle and a game. And I said, well, I know I can give you the bottle, but ain't been no cowpokes coming in for a game yet. He took the bottle and went over to one of the corner tables facing back towards the swinging doors and sipped on his bottle. He didn't drink it fast and pulled out this beautiful gold-looking case and took one of those cigars out of there, lit it up. Well, a couple of the townsfolk come in to get their meals, and nothing I could say. Just a slow day, nothing else going on. Well, Sheriff Dane come in and spoke to me a little bit. Well, he noticed the stranger sitting over there, and he nodded and spoke to him. The stranger spoke back, and Dane left, and man, I bet it turned 10, 15 minutes. Dane come back through the swinging doors holding his double barrel, and he approached the stranger, and I don't know exactly what he said. I heard him say something about warrant and wanted. I never seen a man draw a pistol sitting at a table so fast in my life. He drew that pistol and he shot Dane. Dane didn't stand a chance, mister. He fell straight to the ground, and you know what the man did after he did that? You just ain't gonna believe the devil in some people. You want to know what the man did?
What'd he do?
He poured him some more of that whiskey out of that bottle and took a shot of it down real quick. He stood up real slow from the table. He corked the bottle back. He come walking up to me and threw me another gold eagle. Said, this ought to pay for cleaning up that mess I just made. Well, things happen so fast, The two townsfolk in there, they were in fright. They're sitting at the table. They didn't do anything or say anything. Well, the doors come busting open. There was Jimmy. Jimmy the deputy.
Poor kid.
The man didn't even give him a chance to say anything. The man drew again like that, like a rattler up under those stones, those rocks. He put 2 shots in Jimmy before Jimmy fell. He turned back and he looked at me and he said, here's another coin. Now I made 2 messes for you. Sorry about that. Said he walked out, he got on his horse, and he rode off like it was Sunday morning.
I reckon that he's got his game after all. His game to killing people. Well,
I guess the man he knew he was caught, and I ain't taking up for him, believe me, because me and Dane were good friends, but I guess the man, he just knew he wasn't going back alive. And he wasn't going to let nobody take him dead either, I guess.
well, thanks for the information. Here's something for you, Fred. I hope your establishment will be able to recover from all of this. And then he takes out a little, a coin and hands it over to him.
Well, thank you. If you're going after the man, you better be, all I got to say is you better be a quick draw.
Well, I travel with a pastor. Maybe his prayer's gonna save me. Who could say?
Well, between that and the good book, let's hope it does. I hope you come back through town with either him in cuffs or with a blanket over his body, I guess.
Where's the Undertaker? Is that the fella over there? And then he points around.
When you point it towards that fella, he lets out a laugh and he goes, well, he's really our banker, but we don't have much dying people here. He does the undertaking on the side, but yeah, you picked him out.
Well, I suppose he'd be doing the estate planning for them too. Well, let me go and talk to him. Thanks a lot, Fred. Much obliged. And you'll go over to the banker then. We'll jump back to Arthur. Anything Arthur you would want to do as you're waiting for the prospector to change clothes and get ready to take you out if you're going out today?
I'll go see the family of the people that were killed, and try and give them some condolences and some prayer, if that'll help them any.
Let me see here. Let me look at something else. Roll me 3d6 on your charisma. See if you can meet or beat it. Or lower.
Let's see here. I think it's going to be hard because I got a charisma of 10. But never know.
What are you doing up there?
I put my dice in a ball so that I can shake them around real well.
Cool.
Oh man, I got one over.
Yeah, you go to the maybe some of the local people show you or take you or whatever. And when you go out there, there's a crowd of people, and some of them talk to you and they thank you for coming and all that, but they're not, of course, abrupt or curt with you, but I mean, you can just tell that it seems like they just want local people there only.
Yeah. Okay.
And while you're there in that crowd talking to some of the people, roll me a d6.
All right. 3.
Yeah, you hear a couple of them talking about the man in black who did all this, and you hear that they heard him say something when he rode out of town about going to meet his partner at the mine. He had to hurry up and get there. Now that he knew the lawman would be chasing him, he really had to get there.
All right. Well, I feel like Arthur feels like he's already kind of overstayed his welcome, so he doesn't really want to push it any. So Arthur would just go find Slim and tell Slim that maybe they should think about heading out soon because didn't seem anyone around there really wants them there.
Yeah, you'll go back to where Slim is in the crowd. And Slim, you wanted to go talk to the banker? The banker / Undertaker?
Yeah.
Yeah. As you approach him, he's talking to a couple of the other people there, and he looks towards you and he says, "Can I help you, sir?"
Yeah, I've been wondering how much does it cost to get buried here?
Well, you look pretty healthy. You expecting to die soon?
I'll be hunting that man, Delwin Greymoon, the fellow that put these two fellas in the coffin over there. So who
Ah, so
knows?
you're gonna bring his body back to us, huh?
Well, we'll be going up against the gunslinger, and you never know how it's going to end up. So might as well pay for my own funeral. And if I end up bringing him dead or alive, perhaps I could take the money back out. It's convenient, mighty convenient that you're a banker and an undertaker.
Well, I tell you what, you go and bring that bastard back for what he's done to our town. And if you come back under a blanket, I'll bury you free.
You're a good man. By the way, the fella, the Stelwyn, is wanted for killing a banker out there in the east. So if we do get him, you know, just pray for us.
Well, evidently the man has killing in his blood, from what I understand now. But yeah, bring him back. Bring him back alive because we don't mind keeping him in our little jail over there. We don't have a sheriff or a deputy now, but I'm sure some of the townsfolk would be glad to help you keep a watch on them.
Yeah, I suppose that they do. Well then, that's good talking to you. What's your name, by the way?
Daniel. They call me Daniel.
Good to meet you, Daniel. My name's Sam Smith. If you
Well,
ever get to bury me, don't put Slim up there, but say Sam Smith lies here.
well, I hope it's not too soon, though. I hope it's the other way around.
You and me both, my friend. All right, take care then. He goes over there
Yep.
to.
Yep, and you see
Sure.
Arthur coming back towards you as you go and meet him in the middle of the street there.
Say, preacher, did you learn anything?
Yeah, I learned that this is a close-knit community and they probably don't need to hang around too long. I also heard someone talking about Greymoon. They said that while he was at the saloon, he was talking about needing to meet up with some partners down at that mine. I don't know if they said, well, I don't know if they said partner or partners with a plural. They were kind of far away, but I think it's always cautious to, just go ahead and assume the worst. Assume he's meeting with some partners down in those mines.
Well, this ain't our first rodeo. Remember Carson City, Nevada? Just like that.
Well, let's hope not. That got a little too bloody.
Yeah, but we're both alive. How about we
Thanks to
take
the
some
Lord.
of these? How about we do take some of these townsfolk's offer and take him with us?
Well, I don't want to take anyone who's got someone waiting on him.
That's true.
That young man from earlier, he said that his father passed a few years ago. And then, I think it was the deputy was his brother. So she's already lost one. She doesn't need to lose another. She'd be all on her own.
Amen, Arthur. Leaving your mother all by herself, that'll be a sin. I'd say we could look for other folks, or at least pick out a stick of dynamite or something.
Yeah, maybe that old prospector fella has a stick or two left over.
Well, if it comes to that, perhaps I could just toss it down the mine.
Well, as long as old Delwin meets his maker today, it don't matter none to me how the job gets done.
Yep, I'm ready to ride. What about you?
I'm ready.
Both of y'all roll a d6. Let me know if you get a 1 or a 2.
4.
5.
Yep. You see the old prospector coming back up the street. He's changed into, like these work clothing, and you see he's got a little pack on his side. He's got slung up on his shoulder like a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun. He says, "Well, gentlemen, I don't think I ever told you. I'm Jeremiah Jackson. You can just call me Jerry if you want to."
Mighty good to meet you. My name is Sam. You can call me Slim.
Jeremiah, it's a good biblical name. I
Well,
always like meeting a man with a good biblical name.
you know what this is on my shoulder, Van? This is Matthew and Mark.
I like you, Jeremiah.
Well, let me go get my horse out of the stable, and I guess we better head that way. That old boy's got a day's travel ahead. Well, he's a day ahead of us, but I'll get you out there as close as I can.
Let me ask you something. You used to be a prospector. You don't happen to have any dynamite left over from your prospecting days, do you?
He opens his mouth with a big, almost toothy smile, and he says, "Well, looky here. How did I know you was going to ask about that?" He opens up this little bag he has, and you see very carefully wrapped up it's an old piece of dynamite. He says, "Well, I had one piece I brought for you, but this thing's pretty unstable, so you better let me carry it all the way out there."
Well, tell you what, you're risking enough already taking us out there. I don't mind carrying that. I don't want I don't want this town having to have a third funeral for one of its citizens.
Well, preacher, if that thing blows, it ain't gonna be just one funeral. It's gonna be all three of us. And I'd like to keep my distance away from that dynamite as far as possible, especially if it's unstable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like I said, I just, I don't want it blowing, and then they blame us for, old Jeremiah's, death here.
I hear you, preacher, but I reckon he's the man who's worked with such a dynamite before. I don't reckon that you've been tossing these dynamite in middle of your sermons, do you?
Yeah, you know what? You got a good point there. All right, Jeremiah, you hold on to that for us. Keep it safe.
Well, let me go get Bessie, and I'll be right back. He goes to the stable and brings back this old horse. He says, "Well, I guess I don't know. I'm gonna take you out there at least to where it starts at. I don't know exactly where that man was going, but I can get you close probably. And you would know by now. It's early afternoon, probably after your burial and after you've spoken to some of the town folks. You probably had a meal and maybe bought some supplies if you needed any. It's after lunch, early afternoon." He says, "Well, I can get you there probably about, I hope sundown. We'll be there before sundown, I hope."
Sounds good. Going in there. Hopefully, the cover of night will be able to hide us a little bit.
Yep, and y'all start your little journey. Roll me a d6, y'all.
There we go. I got 6.
Yeah, everything. You don't meet anybody on the road. I mean, it's not a very dense populated area anyway here. Mostly if you would think it'd be some cattlemen or some of the rustlers coming in and out, wranglers. But you make your way out and continue, and sure enough, about 30 minutes before dusk, it's starting to get dim light. Jeremiah says, "Well, gentlemen, You just follow this trail. He's taking you up into some hills, and you see they start, getting even more. And he says this is the beginning of the wet mountains, they call them, because of all the snow and stuff that they get in the winter, and it runs down in the spring when it thaws out. But most of that's gone now. That's why Cougar Creek flows over. But you ain't gonna have to worry about no flash flooding, I don't think, right now. But y'all be careful up in there. I don't guess I need to go no further, do I?
No, you don't need to go no further. You say we don't have to worry about flash floods. What about cougars? Do they come out this time of year?
They could be some of them up in them hills if they get a little hungry. They may sniff your food.
Well, Jeremiah, it was mighty nice of you to ride out here and point us the right way. And then suddenly he draws his gun and points it at him.
All right. He looks at you very dumbfounded. Well, y'all ain't no bounty hunters. You're robbers.
No, we ain't no robbers. Now, Jeremiah, how much did he pay you? Speak, old man.
The old man looks at you as dumbfounded as can be. He has no idea of you've caught him so off guard.
And Slim smiles.
All right, Slim. Normally, I trust you on this. What the hell are you getting at?
It's just nothing. Just checking to see if we're being fooled, my friend. And then he smiles. Don't mean nothing by it, prospector. Just checking to see if you're all jumpy and betray us or something. But you seem all right. You seem all right. We're going to get the job done.
I don't know who's crazier, the man in black or you. He just turns around and, trots off on his horse.
What about that dynamite, Jeremiah?
Oh, yeah. I'd like to drop it just now, but yeah. Hold on. And he comes trotting back up to you, and he hands you the wrapped up bag. And he says, "No, it's just that one stick, but you be mighty careful with it. That thing could go off."
I appreciate all your help.
Say, Jeremiah.
He doesn't even answer you. He just looks at you.
Here's one for your trouble, and he flips him a gold coin.
When you flip it to him, he looks at it and he says, "Well, it's real gold, at least. But here, you keep it, and when you come back to town, you can buy me a dinner and drink. I think that would make up for what you just did."
All right. Well, I'll do that then. Take care now.
Yeah, as we ride off, I'm going to slap Slim in the back of the head.
Huh.
Say, boy, if you ever pull some shit like that again, I'll shoot you myself.
Oh, what'd you do that for, preacher?
You need to keep your head on straight. Don't be going around pulling loaded gun on innocent people.
Well, you're here to pray for me, so that's why.
Yeah, next time I may just forget that prayer. I wouldn't have blinked at that man that shot you. I'd have thought you probably deserved it.
How many years has it been? 3 years since we started riding together, preacher?
Something like that.
You know me. I ain't the type to shoot innocent folks.
Yeah, well, don't be pointing loaded guns at them neither. Folks end up getting shot accidentally that way.
Yeah, I hear you.
You not remember that time back in Diamond City?
I remember. Yeah, that was a mighty doozy.
Well, there you go.
As y'all begin traversing on up into the hills yourselves, are you going to stay on horseback? Or, it's still where it's getting a little rocky and stuff. You can still maneuver on horseback. It's just going to be slower.
Where are you going?
He's going to hop off the horse.
I would say, hop off the horse. And we'll lead the horses with us because Arthur doesn't want to leave him down here with these toxic cougar.
All right. Yeah, as you maneuver on up into the hills, it starts getting pretty dark. You know that you can proceed on, but it's going to be slow and could be treacherous terrain if you're not being familiar with the area, or you can try to stop for a night or whatever you would like to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're kind of wanting to get a jump on this guy. He kind of knows that we're coming for him, but he'd probably I would feel like he'd expect more of a morning attack. Not many people would expect a night attack, it feels like. So I think Arthur would want to continue on.
All right. Sam, you
He'll say
agree?
a prayer.
I'm mighty tired, but and hungry too. Maybe you could stop a little bit to have something to eat.
What? Show Mama that.
Did they say how far away the mines were?
Jeremiah would have told you if you keep going that trail that you'll probably be there in the general area. He tells you probably 45 minutes to an hour to get up there where it's going to be.
How long have we been traveling?
Y'all been traveling about 30 minutes, but his time and actual time it may take you could be give or take since you're not familiar with it. But yeah, y'all been traveling about 30 minutes after he left.
I'd say suck it up for now, Slim. Let's just keep going. Keep our voices low. Don't make as much sound if you can help it.
If I become any more slimmer, I'll be a skeleton by the morning.
Yeah, well, then I'd have an undead friend helping me.
All right, then. I'll shut up and just follow you.
Yeah, y'all keep going. There is some moonlight that's giving you a little bit of vision help. I mean, it's still pretty dark, but you're slowing down tremendously. Roll me a d6.
Real quick, Tony. You said, let's see, on this thing it says, I don't know if I can use it this way, but it says that once a day they can use a miraculous pray. They can do a divine calling, and like God will intervene with a miracle. Now I don't know if that's just for the negating of damage, but I was hoping if I could, maybe I say a prayer that like the Lord will, guide our paths and help see us to our destination, in a timely manner, and maybe that could help us somehow. Like maybe the clouds clear out of the way of the moon or something like that, and give us some more light to be able to see,
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's great to use. I mean, it's not really what it's written for, but sure, I will allow that. That's great. That's great thinking. You can do that.
All right. So yeah, Arthur will say a prayer, asking the Lord for guidance in these trying times, and and I guess I'll just play it out like that if that's okay with you. That suddenly the clouds in front of the moon just start to part.
Yeah, and it starts giving you quite a bit more light to see by, and you're kind of getting your footing again on the trail. Exactly. But roll me a d6 though while you're going up that way.
Both of us?
No, just you, Arthur.
6.
Yeah, I mean, you're making your way. You don't see anything out of place. You don't hear any cougars or anything that give you any kind of startle. Your horses seem to be pretty calm as you're maneuvering on up. Well, Slim, did you want to do something you said or not?
No, I was just commenting. Well, Arthur, if it wasn't for me actually witnessing these prayers and how the moon and the earth itself would listen to your prayers, I don't think my faith would be so strong.
Well, the Bible says that if you have faith like that of a grain of mustard seed, you can command the mountains to be moved into the oceans, and they will do so.
Well, preach on, my brother.
You go for probably another, you would think 30 minutes. I mean, it's pretty slow moving. And sure enough, you come up to the hill deal and you start seeing some old signs that are still there and stuff, talking about a mine and stuff. And you know you're getting pretty close to probably where some of the mines start.
All right. I say we hitch our horses up here and continue on foot. We don't want to make the horses making too much noise.
Yep. He looks around and nods and hitches his horse as well.
Yeah, you can proceed up on foot. You find a place to put your horses you think is pretty halfway secure, you hope, and proceed on foot.
I'm also going to go ahead and draw my medium pistol, so I'll have it ready if anything, if I see anything or something like that.
Yeah, and both of y'all roll me, even though it's not in your profession, roll your professional skill, which you would have a 3 out of 6 chance. So 1 out of 1. If you get a 1 to 3, let me know.
I got 2.
I got a 5.
Yeah, as you're maybe making sure your pistol's good and stuff, Arthur, Slim, you notice what appears to be some horse tracks that seem to be pretty recent, like recent within the past 24 to 48 hours.
Say, preacher, check this out.
Yeah, those look like some
They look
fresh
a little bit
tracks to me.
fresh. Yeah, maybe a couple of hours.
Maybe a day at the most, for sure.
And you would even know, Slim, you would even know by looking at these, it appears to be tracks of 2 horses.
I see 2 tracks. They've been riding abreast, right next to one another.
Slim, you got some kind of ability to see in the dark you never told me about?
Well, thanks to your prayer, things are looking mighty bright out here. And look, you can see it yourself, preacher.
Definitely on our side.
2 sets of tracks down here.
Yeah, looks like we're heading the right way for sure. Let's keep sneaking on up. Now, this trail, like where we're seeing the tracks, like, could we possibly kind of like go off trail a little bit, and it might make us harder to see? Like, are there any trees, any kind of brush or anything that we could move through?
There's some small brush, but as far as trees, no trees. But I mean, there's like small, 3-foot brush up and down through.
Okay. Arthur would like to try and kind of move through the brush a little bit, or at least like, I don't want to, like, he wouldn't want to move through it right away, but like he'd like to stay closer to the brush, so that when he can see those caves, then he can move up into the brush,
All right. What about Slim? You going to stay on the trail or follow where Arthur's going?
He's going to go where Arthur's going.
Both of y'all roll me a d6.
6.
4.
Yeah, you it's slowing you down a little bit, and you're not able to see the horse tracks that Slim had found. But you're able to maneuver up there a little bit and follow up, thinking you're going the right way. And sure enough, you see what you think is going to be a large entrance, maybe into the hills itself, that you would think is a man-made entrance into a mine. But you also notice it appears to be like some kind of a encampment there. It seems to be like a tent structure that is put up there.
Do we see any kind of fire or any kind of light at all?
You do not.
All right. All right. All right. So I'll take my shotty here, and I'll head on up to that encampment.
You want to wait till the morning, or you want to go in tonight?
I mean, the Lord seems to be on our side with this moon, so I'll move on in and keep an eye on me with that rifle. If I don't, if you hear, if you see me give the signal to move on up, you come on up and stay quiet as you can. And if there's any gunshots, well, you know what to do then.
All right, then. I'll stay posted back here. and he takes out his rifle, makes sure that the bullets are in, and he positions himself, aiming it towards the entrance of the cave.
All right, but you did understand that there's you're going to aim at the cave. You understand next to the deal that there's appears to be some kind of tent set up. Also, that's where you're going, right, Arthur?
Yeah, that's where Arthur is going to be headed towards that tent area.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
He's actually pointed his gun towards the tent. I'm sorry.
it's roughly 60 foot. You would think probably about 60 to 80 feet of where you're going to have to go walk up to it. But Arthur, as you make your way up there, you see inside the tent. When you get closer, you can see now that it appears to be like maybe some lanterns are hung up. Where the light is permeating from these lanterns that are hung up in the tent. There's two horses that are hitched up on the back side of the tent that you couldn't see from where you were at first, but you can see them now.
All right.
You hear nothing. You hear nobody talking, and you don't. But you do see the lantern light shining through the tent.
Okay. If the lantern light is coming from the tent, then I shouldn't cast a shadow. Arthur is going to make sure he stays down from the moonlight, so that way he won't be casting a shadow on the tent or anything. He'll try and move up to the tent just a little bit. Can he hear any kind of breathing or anything?
No, you hear nothing, and you don't hear anybody talking. You don't hear like any activity, anybody scuttling around or moving or nothing. Seems to be pretty quiet inside that tent.
All right. All right. Arthur's going to look back down towards where Slim is hiding, and he'll wave him up, but give the signal to come up. But of course Slim will know to be as quiet as possible. And as Slim is coming on up towards the encampment, how far away is the cave?
You would think it probably appears to be, now that you got up closer, you can kind of judge your distance better from there. It would appear it's probably the entrance into the old mine appears to probably be another 50 or 60 foot from where this tent is.
All right, yeah. All right, Arthur's gonna, as Sam is making his way upward and everything, Arthur will go ahead and he'll poke his shotgun barrel down into that tent and just kind of move the flap aside with the barrel of his shotgun. Yeah.
You can do that. And before I tell you what you see, Slim, you're moving up slowly towards him.
Yeah, he is.
You push the flap aside. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead, Young, if you had something to add.
Yeah, but he's actually moving around, so he's keeping the distance roughly about the same distance. Actually, he's going to try to keep the distance a little further away. So he's like, about 70 feet away from the entrance of that tent. But he's basically trying to get a better shot at the tent.
All right, so you don't really want to move up closer to the tent. You're just kind of moving around on the side and trying to get a better angle, but you don't want to go in a straight line and walk straight to where Arthur is right now?
Yeah. And all right. He's actually keeping about 70 feet distance away from where that is.
That sounds good. I got you. Arthur, you take your barrel and you push the flap aside or lift it up real quick. This is what you see. You see a couple of lanterns hanging in there, giving light. You see a couple bed rolls. You see like a small wooden table that has been set up, just with a couple chairs sitting there. And you see a man sitting at a table, slumped over the table. His hat's on and his face is covered and stuff, but he's slumped over the table.
So from where I'm at, can I tell if the guy is dead? I mean, I don't hear any Arthur didn't hear any breathing or anything, right?
Yeah, you don't hear any breathing. You don't see him moving. I mean, maybe he's drunk, passed out drunk. Maybe he's dead, but from here you can't really tell. But he's slumped over the table.
how many lanterns are in this tent?
There's just two. There's like one in the middle on each side. It illuminates the whole tent itself.
All right, like how are they hung? What are they hung on?
They're hung up on the post, the support post itself, like a little nail comes out where they're just hanging up there.
All right. Yeah. Arthur doesn't trust that situation. Yeah, I mean, if the guy's passed out, even if he's drunk, I mean, hopefully he just won't be waking up anytime soon. Or if he does, he'll be.
All right. I mean, what do you want to do?
I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought I missed what you said.
I'm just kind of like thinking about the situation out loud, trying to figure out what Arthur is going to do here. All right. Where are the horses tied up at?
Well, once you got up there where you could see them, it's like they're around the other side of the tent on the back side. You wouldn't have been able to see them from the way you approached, but now you can see that they're around on the other side of the tent.
Okay. Arthur will let the flap fall back down again, and then he'll go around the tent on the side where again he won't cast a shadow, and he's going to move up as quietly as he can towards the horses.
Yeah, you start maneuvering around the side. You don't hear any noise still from the tent as you make your way around as the flap falls back down or whatever, and you start making your way where the horses are tied. We jump back to you, Slim, as you're kind of getting around. You see where Arthur's starting to go around the side there. As you do, roll me a d6, Slim.
There we go. I got 6.
Yep. As you do that, you hear and sense something close by to you. You hear the cock of the trigger as the blast of the trigger goes off of the pistol of the man that's been hiding, watching you. And he is going to hit you with a 16. You will take 5 points of damage from his pistol shot. And I need you to roll a D100 for me.
How many points of damage did you?
5, max 5 with the pistol that he has.
I gotcha.
And then roll a D100.
D100. I got 22.
You're hit in the left arm or the left hand. I'll let you choose.
Left arm.
All right, roll me a D6.
3.
That is a light wound, so you will lose 1 point of dex and 1 point of con. So reduce your dex by 1 and your con by 1 point.
Okay.
And if you need to make modifiers, if it falls below something, if you need to make.
I gotcha.
But yeah, you were shot in the left hand then. You hear this, of course, Arthur, as the shot goes off. I tell you what, roll me 3d6, Crystal, on wisdom.
Awesome. Wisdom is really good for me. So.
Yep. Let's see if you can do it.
That's 11 under 16. I want to say is what I have.
Yeah, that's good.
Double check, make sure. Yeah, 16.
You hear the shot, and you swing around to get the general direction of where it come from, and you would know that's pretty much the area maybe where Slim was. I mean, it's a little bit off, You were thinking maybe he was coming in a straight line, but that was kind of a general area of where Slim was. I mean, that's where the shot come from for sure.
All right. Is there any movement from the tent?
Nope, the tent is still silent.
All right. Arthur's going to, are the horses? They're tied up. Do they have? Are they saddled, or have they been taken off their saddles?
No, you notice that they both still have their saddles on them, and they are tied up and secured pretty well.
How difficult would it be to like ride at night, as with the moon out and everything?
Well, it's going to take some time to get the horse. But you could, depending on how the horse reacts to you. I don't know if the terrain. Plus, you got to think also this terrain you're not that familiar with. You could do it. You're well with horses, but there could be some issues too.
Yeah, it's dark and everything. All right, Arthur instead, he's heard this gunshot. He's just gonna, there's no sounds coming from the tent, so he's just gonna instead sling his shotgun back around his back, pull his medium gun, and begin to head down the way towards where begin to head towards where Slim was, where he heard the shot come from. Keep his eyes up and try and see if he can see something.
Yep, you are walking that way, probably in a very hurried walk. We go back to you, Slim. You can roll me a d6 for initiative and -1 because you are wounded.
I'm gonna use my what's it called, the gunslinger ability to roll or attack before initiative.
Yep, you can do that. As you look at your hand and go ahead and roll initiative for me though, because we're gonna get me and you're gonna do it before Crystal's character can get there. So
is it 1d6 or 2d6?
Yeah, 1d6 -1 since you got a wounded.
5 - 1, 4.
All right. But yeah, you swing around from this gunshot as you're hit, and you see the man standing there in all black with a pistol, and he looks at you and he goes, "I don't go for trespassing." But yeah, do your quick from the holster deal.
Yep.
And you get to make an attack, add +1 to hit, and if you hit him, to the damage too. Then see if you hit him first.
Got, let's see, 12 plus 1 plus. Oh, so -2 hits. So I got 17.
Yep, that hits him.
Okay.
So roll damage and then add +1 to your damage too.
All right, 1d6. I do 3 points of damage.
All right. Now roll me. I'm going to let you roll to see where you hit him. Roll me a D100.
D100. I got I got 83.
Oh man, that's not good. You hit him in the chest. Roll me a D6.
5.
Oh wow. Well, this is how the chart's going to work. A 5 is a mortal wound. You see that you hit him with a mortal wound in the chest, but he is still standing at this point. Then we go into initiative. Crystal, you're making your way. You hear the shot. Arthur, you're making your way. You hear that second shot go off, and you see maybe the figure now standing there. Looks like Slim to you. You can't tell, but just by being with Slim, it looks like him to you as you're making your way. The bad guy got a 5 on initiative. So before he dies, he gets one more shot towards you, Slim. You hit him with his mortal wound, but he says, "You lucky bastard, you. You're going down with me, though. I'll see you in hell." Oh, God. A 19. You'll take 4 points of damage.
Did you say that
shot? No, a 19. I rolled a 19 on a die.
Okay.
But you'll take 4 points. 4 points of damage.
All right.
And then roll me a D100. See where it hits you.
Okay, 4 points of damage. That brings him to 6. And let's see. Here we go. Whew. I got 98.
Oh, no. Are you serious?
Yeah, I got 98.
Oh. Before I tell you where you were hit, roll me a D6.
Okay. 5. Mortal
He
wound.
shoots you in the head, and it is a mortal wound. You will die in 1 round.
Okay.
As you see him slump to the ground in his death throes, he says, "Told you I'd see you in hell, boy." He
And then
dies. You have 1 round to do something.
before right after his arm gets shot, Slim actually turns and shoots him square in the chest, and he says, "Well, I thought you're a gunfighter. You ain't much of a gunfighter, are you?" And then he gets shot in the head too.
Yep, you can do that as your last thing on this earth. You hear a couple more gunshots running that way, Arthur. And as you come up there, you see 2 bodies laying. What would you like to do?
Arthur, of course, he sees his friend shot in the head, and he's probably seen those kind of shots before. So, he, he's just, he's pretty tore up about it. He takes his hat off and, kind of somber, moves over to his friend and closes his eyes. And then he heads on over to Greymoon and kicks the gun away to make sure, see if he's actually dead.
You do, and you see him wearing the black hat in his face, and it matches all the way up to the wanted poster you have. But, yep, he's dead also.
All right. So after that, he looks back up towards the tent. I'm assuming there's still no sound coming out of there?
Nothing has happened in the tent that you have seen at all during this or heard that you know of.
All right.
Here.
So Arthur will go ahead and grab his friend's body first and drag him over towards the tent, and he'll go inside the tent and see if he can find a blanket or something to wrap his friend's body in.
Yeah, once you go back into the tent, if you take the body of Slim back up there and you go in the tent and walk up to the table, you see the man sitting at the table has been shot once in the chest, and it just slumped over, but he's dead. And Luke appears to have been dead for a few hours, of course.
Yeah. All right. Well, Arthur will take time then to get all these bodies bound up, and he'll treat Slim's body with the most respect, of course. The other 2, he just kind of binds up, and just kind of tosses them, and he'll get these horses if he can, and get ready to take them all back into town. I mean, he hasn't slept all night, but what's got to be done is got to be done.
Yeah, if you want to get it all done, and get back, of course, it's going to be probably daylight once you get back to town, of course. It'll be sunrise most definitely as you get back to town. And as you come back in, there's a few of the town's folks are up, moving as they see you come back in with these horses and the 3 bodies. I guess you took the body out of the tent, you said also, so you have the 3 wrapped up bodies that you're bringing back in.
Yeah. And I'll tell them. I'll find the Baron guy, and I'll tell them, I don't care what you do with these 2. Really, or actually, I got to take those bodies because I got to collect the reward on them. What about that 3rd guy? Does he look like any kind of bounty head or anything?
No, just from bounty posters you've seen, and you don't recognize the fella. He looked like an older fella, and he was dressed pretty nice too. But he appears that maybe just some associate, maybe that Greymoon was dealing with. I mean, you don't find any kind of papers to indicate anything of what was going on between the 2. But yeah, he doesn't appear to be any type of bounty on him.
All right. Well, I told them I don't care what they do with that guy. Really, I don't know anything about
if you talk to the banker Daniel, he says, "Well, I made your friend a promise that if he come back dead, I'd bury his body for him here free. If you want me to do that for you."
Yeah, he does, and he'd appreciate it. Actually, you know what? No, Slim had a family. He wants to bury Slim with his family.
Yeah, he writes you up like a paper. He'll write up this paper for you. He says you just take that to any of the city undertakers wherever you go, and I think that'll help you out.
I'll thank the man, and who he will leave that one body there though. He doesn't know who it is or
yeah, and they don't know him either. If you add the townspeople look at the body, or they don't any of them recognize the guy either. Nobody knows him. The prospector, of course, he comes out and he says, "Man, you know your friend. He scared the devil out of me, there, preacher man, but he didn't deserve this."
Yeah. He was a good man. Looks like the Lord would be judging too. Of course, it's not for me to say, but, I would think that old Delwin will end up in the hell he deserves. And Slim, I imagine I'll be seeing him around in heaven.
Yeah, and let me ask you a question. I understood some of the townsfolk. I guess the story got out y'all were bounty hunters working since Slim there ain't going to be with us anymore. Why don't you leave his badge with me, and next time you come through here, I'll be your new partner. I don't get around as good as I used to, but, man, me and Mark, Luke, and John, I can bring you all three of them next time.
All right, old man. I'll leave his badge here with you. Sound needs a sheriff in the meantime.
Well, this town's going to have to get a sheriff too, I don't know who's going to get that job. I think old Flint, Jimmy's older brother, we'll probably make him. But yeah, you leave that bounty hunter badge with me, and next time you come through here hunting somebody, we got you back.
Sounds good. And with that, how the story will end for Arthur, if it's about that time?
Yep, it is that time. Tell me.
He first goes and collects on that bounty for Delwin, and then he takes Slim back to their hometown where that tragedy happened all those years ago, and will have Slim buried with his family. And he leaves $2,500 in Sam's coffin.
All right, perfect. Yep, because the bounty reward was $5,000 for Delwin. Perfect. The way the story ends after you do that is we go back to Cougar Creek. You've left the badge with Jeremiah, and he shows and tells his friends there at the local town about it. The town finally decides to put Flint, after he's got his wits back about him after losing his young brother. They make him the new sheriff of the town. Everything goes back to the thing about the worst thing is the floods, the cougars coming out of the hills every once in a while. Then we go to the cattlemen coming in, the rustlers, the wranglers coming in, getting a little drunk and maybe getting locked up for a night to sober up. Things go back pretty peaceful. We go back up to the hills where the mine was that the tragedy happened. And the camera shoots straight down through the mine system itself. And you see all these veins of nothing but rock and stuff. And you can see a couple pickaxes still laying around, as we don't see any sign of any gold at all. As the man known as Delwin Greymoon met his final fate in a mine without gold. But he did shoot the sheriff and the deputy. That ends the White Box Western Bounty Hunters. Thank you for playing.